we're back here at the Six with former Cumberland head coach Woody Hunt, the most recent inductee into the the National College Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, he was already in about 7 Halls of Fame, but this was the big one. This was the big one, the national one. And to show you how big it was, among his fellow inductees, there were several, was Mike Schmidt, Roger Clemens, Mark Teixeira. If that doesn't tell you that that's a big one, I don't know what does. Coach, first off, congratulations on such a big honor. And whether you believe it or not, it's well-deserved. 1,630 wins, 3 national championships. Well-deserved into the Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be part of it, and it was a great event. And it's just kind of overwhelming and to stop and think about it. But it was a Hall of Fame that a lot of people are going to be inducted because it's kind of a young Hall of Fame. It's only 17 years old, so you look back at all the people that have been through college baseball as a player or as a coach. There's a lot more to go.
Oh, absolutely. And you got there, it was in Kansas City, and I took you to the airport, and bad weather.
Yeah.
But fortunately, everything was held at the same place, right? I mean, almost. I mean, a big hotel, this huge, nice place, and everything was there.
It was at the one of the Marriotts there, and we had all the reception and breakfast and in the dinner there, the induction. It's the same place, yeah.
Yeah. So that kept. I mean, it was snow on the ground, 5 degrees, 0 degrees one day. Right?
Yeah, it was 0 one night. On Tuesday night, it snowed about 5 inches, probably 4 to 5, but it was really cold outside. Basically, I just stayed in the motel, except one day they took us on a tour down to where the Hall of Fame building will be.
The Hall of Fame doesn't have a building at this point in time.
No, they don't.
Yeah, but it will be. And I talked to you several times when we were at that trip, and you just loved talking baseball with everybody. Everything there was centered around baseball, correct?
Yeah, it was. It was. They had a reception there one night, and they got up and talked about the Hall of Fame, their plans for the future, and you got to meet other coaches and players and that got inducted, and saw some other people that part of the program and all that. So it was just a great event. I think next year they may be at the convention center because we have more room there.
Okay, so it was a good crowd.
Yeah,
at the hall. And now we've been waiting on this. That it wasn't your typical induction. They bring each inductee on the stage and conduct an interview with them, right? As opposed to you giving a speech, correct?
Yeah.
Now they said we was going to get a copy of that. How can we get that? We're going to put that online for people to see and listen to.
Well, they're supposed to mail us one, I think. I don't know for sure. But I think we're going to get a copy. Probably a copy will go to Kyle Allen's office, but I don't know exactly. Except it will be out soon, I think.
Well, whenever we get it, for all you listeners and viewers, it will go online. I'm not sure where you'll be able to find it. Don't worry about that.
Well, it's only 3 minutes. I was up there, so they won't miss much.
Yeah. Coach, I came here 30 years ago, and I remember when I came here, Lipscomb was in our conference, and Coach Dugan, who was a monster in the NAI, a legend in the NAI at that point, and you made it. You made sure we knew that.
Yeah.
And Coach Gillespie was still in the game at that point. Could you think back at that, because you were younger then than I am now?
Yeah.
Would you have ever thought, when you mentioned 2 guys like that I know you respected a whole lot in the game, 30 years later now, people are talking about you the same way we talked about Coach Dugan and Coach Gillespie?
Well, no, I never thought that. Never even thought about it as a time that I would get to that status. Or I modeled my program after Coach Dugan. We had different styles of playing, maybe, but he had such a strong program. He was one of the most disciplined coaches I ever met. His teams were disciplined, and they were very good. And I wanted to be that competitive, like Coach Dugan. And our goal was to beat them, and we had a good record against them. But at one time, Coach Dugan had Lipscomb as good as anybody in the entire South, all of the country. They were NAI, but they were as good as anybody.
Yeah, they got a championship.
They got 2.
Yeah, late 70s, 80s, maybe, I can't
77 and I think 79.
Yeah. but I can just remember looking to those coaches and then just seeing you over the last 30 years just continue to stack wins and World Series appearances, and then finally, of course, we break through and start winning them. It's been pretty special. I'm one of the lucky ones. I say that a lot. I'm proud of you. I'm proud to be just a small part of this program, but to look at what you have been able to do here since the early 80s. I forget what year it was you were first here. It's astonishing.
Well, sometimes I got to pinch myself, and my intent was not to be great. My intent was just to work hard and build the best program that I could, and whatever happened. I was motivated by trying to put the best product I could on the field. I was motivated by our program and how we could get better in the facilities and players and all that. And I just was wrapped up in it every year. And it wasn't about me, it was about the program. The awards are good, but as I told somebody, that it's a lot of people that this award is for the whole program. And I really mean that.
Yeah, and I agree. We all are so proud of you, but in large, just what we've all been able to accomplish.
Yeah, it's all for everybody. And we have a big family here, and there's not many schools that can say what we can say because we connect. Coach Ryan was a little kid, a little bitty boy in diapers when some of these kids were playing for us. Some of these players, and now he's the head coach. But see, we're just one big family here.
Common thread runs from, when did you get here? 78,
77
as an assistant, and then became head coach and coached while we were at junior college for a couple years. So from 77, that thread has been all the way through, even to now with Rhino as head coach, and that's why we have so many former players sitting up with us. How many have so many former players in the stands? Everywhere we go, every road game, there's going to be at least one former player there, wherever it is, because it's all over the world.
The best way I can explain it to people who can't relate with what we have is Duke basketball. We have one coach there that started Duke. They weren't winning. He built that program into something that was from nothing to a powerhouse, multiple championships. And when you talk about that Duke family, the way they talk about it, we talk about it the same way. And that is a really good correlation to a program that a lot of people know about. Just people don't understand how important this is to former players in our community outside of the Cumberland family.
Right. We get it here, and we do our best to impart that to people on the radio and listen. And in fact, I was texting with Tim Hollick's dad yesterday, a former player who played here last year and the year before, but now he's gone. And he said, well, he's struggling with that. I'm out of college. I'm not a player anymore. And I said, but he's going to always be a part of this family. Mm-hmm. He's always welcome back here, and always will be. And speak to that a little bit, Coach.
Well, it's just I don't know what it is. I think Lebanon in this community has a little drawing power to people to stay here. Our sense of the history of our program, the continuity of our program has been a lot to all the players. And when players come in here, they want to continue that. And, I still say, two of the best teams I've seen here was the 2 years Coach Taylor was playing.
Yeah.
And so I didn't coach them. Yeah. Because, with a little different circumstance here or there, that one team Coach Taylor played on, they could have won it.
No question about it.
And that makes me proud that they can continue on. And we had a good year the next year, and 2 rains cost us a conference championship.
Right.
We got caught in a crazy game up in Indiana. And then, so I just want this thing to keep going. My son's a coach. It's a little different from me. But whoever, I want this program to keep going, and I'm looking forward to that. But it's hard. People really don't know how hard it is to build a winning program or a winning team. It's really hard.
Well, let's get back to the Hall of Fame, because that's what we're going to talk about. You were asked, somebody, I think my pastor Ryan Bennett asked you the other night in my presence, what was your favorite part? So I'll ask you the same question. What was your favorite part of that whole experience, the trip to Kansas City and the induction and all that?
Well, I forgot what I told him, so I don't want to say something different.
Just make up something else.
Yeah. Well, just the whole thing of it, I guess I didn't get maybe answer Ryan's question like I maybe wanted to, but I think how important it was to everybody else when you see all these people from like Georgia Tech, old coach was there, and
North Carolina.
he went in with me, became good friends with him. I think the most overwhelming thing is, it may be a little different when I told Ryan, but just how big of a thing it was to everybody else. And I looked at it and said, well, this is a pretty big deal, I guess, you know.
Yeah, I guess it was.
And then get to see, Roger Clemens and Mark Teixeira, and then Jeff King, who's an Arkansas player,
Great player,
number 1 draft pick for the Pirates, and and we had one of our former players to play with him in the minor leagues. So you get to ask people questions. Do you know this guy? You know this guy? But it was just the scope of it, I think, was in how much what they're putting into the Hall of Fame facility, and how where that's going to be done was kind of a highlight too.
Well, and there's always connections, and you mentioned that our player who was drafted the highest in program history, Chris Smith, was drafted in the 2001 or 2000
2001, yeah.
draft, first round, 7th pick overall, and right after him or right before him was Mark Teixeira.
Yeah,
first pick. He was the 6th pick, and Chris Smith was the 7th. And you talked to Teixeira about Smith.
He remembered Chris because he said, because he competed against Chris when Chris was at Florida State.
Yes.
And so he remembered Chris going the first round, and there was Baltimore. He didn't say that. He said, "Yeah, I remember Baltimore," and that made me feel pretty good. And we text Chris, and Chris texted me back, and all that. So that was good. That got a chance to mention the draft with Mark Teixeira, and one of our guys. Chris was drafted 7th overall, and Teixeira was drafted 5th.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and I know that it was a bit of a disappointment that Mike Schmidt couldn't be there for whatever reason, but he was one of the inductees. But I know that you said you did get to visit with Teixeira and Clemens a little bit, and got to have some good conversation with those guys. And told me they seemed like normal human beings instead of super duper stars, you know.
Well, Roger Clemens was over the top, being nice and cordial and accommodating to everybody. It was not what I expected, to be honest with you, but I have a strong opinion about Roger Clemens, just how he treated me and Dr. Franklin, who I did ask for an autograph. He signed a program, but he signed autographs. I told him about, we had a former player from San Jack, or several, and that's where we went to JUCO.
Yeah.
So we had that little bit of a common, and he was very nice, and just, he seemed to be the happiest guy out there.
Well, that's good.
And he was glad to be in the College Hall of Fame, and he's going to help them out with fundraising, I think, and all that. So it was just a really good event.
Well, I know one of the funniest things is that when I was taken to the airport, he said, I don't know why I'm even going. I don't know why they even want me up there. I'm not going to know anybody. It turns out you knew everybody there.
Yeah, one way or the other.
Through these things we've just talked about, right?
Well, you have a connection. The game connects you. Baseball connects you a lot. Whether it's pro, college, or whatever. And there was a lot of connections. I do say this, Randy. I think that Cumberland is known. I'm not bragging. I say this. I think that Cumberland is known outside the state, maybe better so than within the state.
Totally agree. That's interesting.
And I really think that it makes me proud that people know about Cumberland University baseball, this little small school in Lebanon, Tennessee, and that makes me proud. That we're looked at as one of the all-time great programs.
Well, it should make you proud.
Yeah.
I'm proud to be a small, tiny little part of it. I didn't even play here. You didn't even recruit me. What's wrong with you?
Well, he's on a golf course too. No, it's really satisfying to look back and know what we've done. But I have to really people understand this, that this wasn't done by me alone. It was done by people like Chris Slaughter and Chris Truck and all the people that you know that sacrificed their time and their effort. I was not a very easy guy to play for at times.
You don't mean it.
And
I don't remember that.
First I ever heard of
I
that.
don't remember that.
That's the first time I heard of that.
And I know Rhino can be tough at times, but people don't understand what the program means to our family.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even friend Scott, who's listening probably now.
Yeah, he is.
And but our family grew up here, you know, and
Literally.
yeah.
I mean, you were living in the dorm.
Yeah.
You were my dorm parent or whatever. We'd have to sneak by your door at night,
know,
trying
yeah.
not to get caught from
Yeah, you know, I could have caught you many times, but you know, it's been a sacrifice for my whole family, and it's just been, you know, good things have happened, but it's gone. It's over with. It goes by just like that, and that's really hard to sit back and think that 45 years have gone by.
Well, the only thing that's over with is you out on the field coaching.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's over with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, your son's out there coaching. The former players are still coming back. We had 60 former players at our golf tournament last September. 60. It's unbelievable. There's several here today. Nolan McHugh was sitting right behind
Eric
us.
Bollington was down there.
yeah, I saw
Bill
that.
Potter was up here. I mean, they're Greg Appleton yesterday.
Yeah.
You could just go on and on and on and on. So, yeah, the only thing that's over is you coaching, and that's it. It's
Well, I meant that's what I meant. I'm history now, and you know, it's I'm just really proud of the program, proud for everybody who's been part of it, and has made me look awfully good. I made a lot of mistakes. You know, I go back to this. The two runner-up teams, we were so close to having 5 national championships, and really, if you look at maybe 6, maybe 7. And I think about those days, and I'm so proud of those teams just as much as the national championship teams. But and I feel for those guys because that 95 team, that 06 team, I talked to Derek Depew. He still agonizes over that series that we should have won that national last game.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And Nolan McHugh, who got hit in the head in 06 and went down to the ground. And those guys had a great year, but they just come up a little bit short.
I'll tell you, Coach, I was a part of 4 teams that won the World Series here, but when we won that first one,
Yeah.
you want to talk about removing some of the pain of
Yeah.
never winning it when I was here?
Yeah.
I'll always value that first championship so much because there were so many teams that were so close, and it took the sting out of 95 for me even.
Yeah, well, we told our players that we were one, and they interviewed every player on the team shortly, and every player thanked the previous players, and that made me feel good that they were able to do that.
Well, there's not. You mentioned Duke basketball. I guess Penn State had that with Joe Paterno. That didn't end well, but we won't go there. But Penn State had that with Paterno.
Coach Knight at IU.
Bobby Knight at IU, and that kind of went off the
Yeah.
rails too.
Right.
The other one I remember Ray Meyer coached at DePaul for like 42 years basketball.
Adolph Rupp in Kentucky.
Adolph.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention the Cats.
I knew that was coming. But there's just not been that many, and you got a common thread. And you know, I don't know how long Rhino's going to coach here. I hope he coaches as long as he wants to. But after him, hey, it's going to be a former player. It's going to be a former player that's going to coach here. We got some of them everywhere.
Roger, we don't want it because I'm telling you that, not saying this, I've said it before, Rhino's got the toughest job in any eye.
There's no question about that.
There's no question in that. But that's a good thing. It's
Yeah.
because so many people care.
Yeah, you're right.
So many people care. So many people are watching these broadcasts, listening to these games on the radio. I mean, it's beyond comprehension how many people give a rip about this team. Just people text me during every game. They're listening from all over the country, and that's because of what you built. But anyway, all right, we got to wrap it up. We got to get our lineups down and all that, and got baseball.
Last thing,
All right,
we got an auction online. Go bid.
I'm going to talk about that. Never
You gotta raise that money,
Never
Coach.
stops
You gotta
falling.
raise that money.
Well, hope you guys have enjoyed our visit with former coach Woody Hunt, and we're going to sit back at the station for 3 minutes, Jeremiah. 3 minutes, and we'll be back with some baseball.